You look at this, and what do you see? You probably just see a patch of dirt, right? Well, it turns out that's not the whole story. Because depending on who's looking, this isn't just dirt, it's a language. And each person speaks a totally different dialect. So let's do a little thought experiment. Imagine a farmer, a builder, and a road designer all standing here, looking at the exact same patch of ground. They're not just looking at it, they're interrogating it. And the questions they ask, that's where it gets interesting.
All right, first up, the farmer. For them, this ground is everything. It's their livelihood. So their focus boils down to one single fundamental question. Is this stuff going to grow my crops?
And for them, the answer is all about the soil's texture, that specific mix of sand, silt, and clay. This is the language of the USDA system. So a name like clay loam isn't just a label. Nope. It's basically a forecast for that soil's future, telling the farmer if it can hold water and nutrients and, actually support a harvest. Okay, now let's switch hats. Bring in the builder. They're looking at the same ground, but with a completely different kind of anxiety. They're not worried about things growing up. They're worried about things falling down. Their question is all about stability. Can I build on this without the whole thing sinking or shifting on me? For a builder, the language isn't texture. It's all about structure. The engineering system they use, the USCS, makes one critical distinction right off the bat. Is the soil coarse-grained, like sand, where the particles just kind of lock together? Or is it fine-grained, like clay, which can get, pretty unpredictable when it gets wet? And trust me, getting that one answer right is the difference between a solid foundation and an absolute disaster. And finally, let's bring in the road designer. Now, this person is playing the long game. They're thinking about decades of freezing, thawing, and just the constant, relentless pounding from thousands of cars. Their question is all about endurance. Is this roadbed actually going to hold up, or is it just going to crack and fail in a few years? Their language is all about one thing, performance. And that's where the AASHTO system comes in. It doesn't just describe the soil, it gives it a report card. A simple grade from A1 for excellent all the way down to A7 for poor tells the designer everything they need to know. There's no ambiguity, just a super clear rating of how it's going to perform. So we've got three different languages, right? Texture, structure, and performance. But how do they all connect? This is where it all clicks into place. The USDA system asks what will grow and gives you an answer like clay loam. The USCS asks how will it build and calls it clay sand. And AASHTO asks how will it perform and just gives it a grade like A4 fair. The big takeaway here is that these aren't competing systems. They're just different tools, each one perfectly designed to answer a very specific and very important question. It all proves a pretty simple but really powerful idea. The ground itself doesn't change. What changes is our purpose for it. So to get the right answer, whether you're planting a seed or building a skyscraper, you have to start by asking the right question.